Following today's startling new policy statement from the government, we have here in the studio tonight the Prime Minister, John Key. Good evening, Prime Minister.
Good evening.
Mr. Prime Minister, with your introduction of this radical new policy, can I assume that we are now well into the run-up to this year's election?
By no means. This policy has been on the forefront of our minds for many years now. It is a pure coincidence that the election is only a few months away.
That is very difficult to believe, Prime Minister. Launching such a controversial and far-reaching policy this close to an election says that you must be very sure of your election chances. You must be aware that nearly 20% of the voting population will be very uneasy about this bill.
Well, I disagree. Unlike many who want to disparage the thinking capabilities of the man in the street, I am confident that when the details of our proposition are closely scrutinised, most citizens will see the logic in it. It's a win-win situation for the 20% you are speaking about, for the country as a whole, and for Treasury.
Definitely for the Treasury. How do the opposition see it?
This policy is an outrage. A blight on the name of New Zealand throughout the civilised world. How can the country, which was the first to give women the vote, stoop so low as to...
Rubbish. I congratulate the Prime Minister on his idea. It was about time the party had the courage of its convictions.
Yes, the National Party has certainly come out of the cupboard with this one. It's the most honest statement to come from them for years. And what's next? Euthanasia?
Yeah, kill the lot of them.
Gentlemen, and lady. It's going well, keep the pressure on.
Have you actually read the document, subjected it to critical analysis? Surely you can see the benefits. They add up.
Dollars and cents, do you mean?
Well, let's go into the details. I think the most radical aspect of this bill comes in the very first paragraph, where you propose putting all rest home occupants into prison.
What's wrong with that?
Surely you can appreciate the problem here. People seeing their loved ones going to jail? Law-abiding people who have never put a foot wrong.
Middle-class Pākehās. Perhaps I can vote National.
You haven't read the paper. You're jumping to the wrong conclusions. We don't actually move them. We just call the rest homes prisons and the prisons rest homes. Then we, the government, take over the running of the rest homes. And the rest homes management take over the prisons. All that savings for just the cost of a coat of paint.
How do you save money on that?
Economies of scale. There are far more people in rest homes. We can probably charge them half.
You're going to charge them?
Well, it won't be much. And the service will be better. Library, education, weight training. They would be constantly monitored so they don't get out, in trouble. Free medical treatment, free funerals. Most funeral directors will become state employees.
I still don't see how they would be better off.
Of course they would be. Free TV, radio, phone, 3 to a room. A much more sociable environment. And better food. That's a big plus. The prison population will have a much harder time. They will have to pay for board and lodging and will never be allowed out.
So New Zealand will again lead the world in social engineering.
There'll be a few downsides. The staff will need to be swapped over, so the wardens will need to be retrained to deal with a different set of problems. Deafness and incontinence spring to mind. But on the plus side, we won't need to retrain the rest home staff at all.
Let me get this straight. Inmates wouldn't move, just the staff, plus a change of name.
You've got it. It makes the Super City organisation look difficult.
I can't see my lot buying into it, I'm afraid. They're a powerful sector, the oldies, and getting more numerous.
Yes, and that's why we need to pass the bill this session. Wait until next election, and there'll be so many of them, they'll have us in prison, rest homes. It's our best chance. We're so far ahead in the opinion polls.
That won't last if the bill goes through. I'll see to it that it gets revoked at the following election.
By the following election, we'll have 20% of the population in prison. They can't vote. So I don't think we're going to be seeing you in Parliament, Mr. Peters.
Gets my vote.
And mine.
And mine.
And mine.
And mine. And ours.